Site formation processes are defined as the events that create and affect an archaeological site before, during, and after its occupation.
The reason why we should study site formation processes is because they provide us with the information on how our history worked and how our current world came to be. The consideration of site formation processes is important because having a detailed understanding of the physical representations of our past and present help us to better understand cultures, the way they interacted with each other, and how they have shaped the world that we live in today.
The object we have chosen to focus on is a sign located outside of Harkness Chapel at Connecticut College on the side of the road to the right of the front doors.
This sign is used to display the events offered each week at the chapel. There is a glass door that covers the bulletin board displaying the announcements from the chapel to the people passing by.
Most of the object is affected by the weather, including the aging and rotting wood and the rusted metal that make up the sign. The only part of the sign that doesn't seem to be affected greatly by the weather is the glass itself, but the metal around the glass is affected.
The agents of transformation are mostly chemical and physical, but some biological transformations can be seen as well. The metal bars holding up the sign are rusting, which is a chemical transformation. This can also be seen in the metal outline of the glass window and be seen seeping through the paint from the nails and screws underneath.
The physical transformation is the peeling away of the paint on the sign and the cracking in the wood. The biological transformation can be seen in the moss and lichen that is growing along the concrete base of the sign, as well as where the wood is rotting.
The sign is starting to look quite worn down, which can affect one's first impression of the chapel. This sign is meant to introduce the chapel to passers-by and try and entice them to participate in one of the posted activities, but if it's falling apart, it may not have as much of a positive effect. Focusing on the chipped paint and cracked wood, the sign looks like it's falling apart in many different places. Even if the sign had not been there for a long time, this worn-down look gives it the effect of being very old and therefore less aesthetically pleasing.
The chipped paint and cracked wood are the effects of decay that are most noticeable. Along the sides of the sign that are exposed most directly to weather is where the paint is most dramatically peeling away and where the largest cracks in the wood are.
Barring replacement or restoration, these transformations will continue. They are a result from natural forces like wind and rain that, given Connecticut's climate, will continue. As long as it is still exposed to the weather, the biological transformations will still happen, along with the chipping paint, and as long as it is exposed to air, the metal will continue to rust.
The sign will most likely look worse as the years go on. If it is not restored or replaced by another sign with more durable materials, the current sign will not be able to withstand New England weather for too many more years without completely falling apart and rotting through. Since wood is an organic material, it will eventually succumb to biological transformations and most likely rot away.
The metal will eventually fall apart and rust through, but will not degrade like the wood will. The glass will most likely still be there long after the metal has fallen apart, and definitely long after the wood has rotted away. Glass does not degrade like organic materials and does not rust and fall apart like metal. It can break and then the pieces will be changed by the weather, similar to sea glass in the ocean.